Dear students, in this session we will learn about cell lineage in Nereis. Now, this cell lineage is also known as cytogeny. Now, why we call it as cytogeny is because here this cell lineage includes the analysis or the study of fate of each blastomere after first and the second cleavage, and hence it is called as cytogeny or cell lineage study. So in this session we will discuss this cell lineage with particular reference to Nereis. So let us understand the concept and we will see like what are the uses, how this cell lineage studies are conducted, and how is it shown in Nereis and what are its significance. I am Dr. Lata, Assistant Professor, Department of Zoology, Maharani Science College for Women, Bengaluru. Now to start with, if you look at this picture, now what do you understand, like what is your interpretation of this picture? Now first figure, if you observe, you have 4 cells A, B, C and D. Each one is colored in different color, right? Now that is a 4 cell stage. Prior to that, you would have had one single zygote ABCD that would have split into 2 cells AB and CD, and then it would have further split into 4 to give this ABCD cell. Then when as the cleavage proceeds, you have 8 cell stage formation in which you have 8 blastomeres being formed, and if you see the labelings, it is capital A represents macromere, the small a represents the micromere derived from each particular blastomere. That means 1A cell will split into one small a and one capital A. That means it's going to form one micromere and one macromere. The same thing applies to the others also. And then in 16 cell stage, again you have more cells being added because the division is continuing, and you can see there is more of micromeres. There the division is faster because of less amount of yolk. The macromeres take longer time to cleave because of the presence of yolk. And then once it forms 66 cell stage, it's become difficult for you to keep a track of cells, but then since the cells are stained, you can know like what are the derivatives of this particular cell A, how many blastomeres it has formed, and what region of this blastula is derived from each given cell, because A is marked with blue, capital B is marked with green, C is marked with yellow and D is marked with pink. So that in turn correspondingly says like which organ it's going to form. And then once since this is in case of Nereis, they form the trochophore larva. So when you look at the larva, you can see which part of the blastomere give rise to the prostomium, which forms the peristomium and others. And when it becomes a juvenile form, then it becomes very clear as to which part or which blastomere has formed a particular organ in the juvenile worm. Okay. Now, if you have to know this, why these cells at the 4 cell stage are colored, or why is it stained? If you stain it, then you can interpret clearly as to which organ has been formed by that particular blastomere and its derivatives. Okay, so this process of understanding the fate of each blastomere after the first and the second cleavage is what is known as cell lineage study, or it is also called as cytogeny. Understood? I hope this is clear to you, and let us learn the same concept in detail. Now, again coming back to cell lineage definition, it can also be defined as a cell lineage is the developmental history of a differentiated cell as tracked back to the cell from which it arises. Okay, or you can also say it as it is the cell lineage represents the developmental history of a tissue or a part of an organism from particular cells in the fertilized egg or embryo to their fully differentiated state. For example, if you take the nereis, the region which formed the peristomium or the prostomium, from which blastomere this tissue has come, that you can study using this cell lineage. That's what we are trying to express. Now, in case of nereis, that shows a spiral cleavage. So, I hope you have learnt about different kinds of cleavage, and by now you are sure as to what this spiral cleavage is all about. And the main person who worked behind this cell lineage studies are Edmund Beecher Wilson. He is famously called as E.B. Wilson, and he is the one who carried out a lot of studies with respect to cell lineage in many marine organisms, including the annelidan worm Nereis. So all the credit or all the information that we have, the basic information that we got regarding the cell lineage study, it is dedicated to this person, E.B. Wilson. So when we say this is how a lineage of the blastomere can be traced or studied, then the question arises, how can you do it? Like while studying fate maps, we said that that can be studied by using different methods, by vital staining and the genetic markers, radioactive markers, carbon particles, etc., etc. So here also for the lineage study, the most commonly or the most important methods that are used are following the cell peculiarities. For example, all blastomeres do not have the same shape, color and appearance, as you saw in case of sea urchin. While discussing fate maps, we said some will have natural markings in them. Similarly, here also some will differ in shape, color and appearance, and they may have there will be many other differences also. So if you observe carefully these differences in a microscope, then you will be able to follow and tell what this particular blastomere gave rise in the juvenile worm or a young adult. Okay, that is one way of following the developmental history of a blastomere. The second method is by naming each blastomere. So that is called as alphabetical nomenclature of cells. So here what we have done is the blastomeres that can be labeled in a alphabetical order and it can be followed. So this kind of method is applied to the eggs having spiral mode of cleavage, like in our nereis, in some mollusks and polyclads, etc. And here the blastomeres are usually named in the clockwise direction. Like in our previous picture, we said it was labeled A, B, C, D. Like that you can label them and look for its developmental history. Now the next method is use of stains. Like you have already seen in the study of fate maps, we have used different stains. Vogt used the different stains like Nile blue sulfate, neutral red and all that. So the same way can also be used here to trace the developmental history of a blastomere. Then the next method is extirpation method. Okay, so here a scientist by name Charby in 1887, he drew this fertilized eggs of the ascidian into a capillary tube of a smaller diameter, and he pricked off one or two blastomeres with the help of glass needle. And then the embryo was followed to see what kind of tissues or organs are lacking in that. Hence the name of the method is extirpation. You are exiting, you are removing some portion of this developing embryo to see that what organs are lacking once it is fully formed. So what inference you can draw from this? Whatever blastomere you have removed, that will be responsible for the organ which is not there in that fully developed form. Okay, so by this you can conclude these blastomeres are responsible for the differentiation of this particular tissue or a organ. That is one method. Now there's one more method called as isolation technique, wherein certain blastomeres are isolated and then their development is followed to find out their potentiality as to what kind of tissues that they can differentiate into. And here people make use of some stains like Janus green, Nile blue or neutral lead. They are applied onto the blastula stage and then the isolated cells can be conveniently studied, knowing that what is the future of that particular blastomere. This is not there in your syllabus. This is just for your additional information. So I have just given a brief mention of this and I have explained it to you like how these techniques work. So this is how people study this developmental history of a blastomere. Now coming to the lineage in case of Nereis. Now here the egg of Nereis, if you take, it is telolecithal, and then cleavage is holoblastic and unequal, and it is a determinate type of cleavage and determinate type of egg, and it exhibits spiral cleavage. Now what is the meaning of determinate type? When you say a blastomere is determinate, that means the fate of this blastomere, that is what the destination of this blastomere is already fixed once the cleavage is complete. So you cannot alter the fate of this particular blastomere. If it is destined to form a mesoderm and its derivatives, then that blastomere will give rise to mesoderm and its derivatives only. It cannot, the fate of this blastomere cannot be reversed. Such kind of egg is what is called as determinate type. And spiral cleavage, I think you all know by now how this spiral cleavage occurs and how the phenomenon of spiral cleavage is exhibited. So in Nereis also the egg undergoes spiral cleavage. So now let us try to understand how this cleavage pattern occurs in Nereis. Now as I have already mentioned, it is the contribution of E.B. Wilson in 1892. He gave us this example of cell lineage study in Nereis, and in this the first cleavage is unequal, giving rise to two small cells or two small blastomeres labeled as AB and CD. Okay, earlier it was one zygote, then after the first cleavage it divides into two, thereby giving rise to two blastomeres which are AB and CD. After the first cleavage, 60 minutes later, after 60 minutes, the second cleavage furrow produces two equal sized A and B blastomeres, while the larger C and D that divides into a smaller C and a larger D cell. Okay, so here cleavage is spiral, therefore it alternates clockwise and anti-clockwise with each successive division. That is the key characteristic of spiral cleavage. And then at the third cleavage, the first quartet is designated as one small a and one small d, marking the micromere derivative of each a and d. That means, I hope you are getting what I am trying to say. Now here this is the first cleavage, the second and the third cleavage. Now at the end this is the first quartet of this micromeres that are formed. Okay. Now how is it labeled? This is 1A, this is 1B, 1C and 1D. Right. So 1A has given rise to 1A, 1B has formed 1B, 1C has free and 1D has given rise to 1D has given rise to 1T. Now, while each succeeding macromere division, as the second through the fourth micromere quartets are formed and which are identified as 2A, 2B, 2C and 2D. And then in the next division you get 3A, 3B, 3C and 3D, then 4A, 4B, 4C and 4D respectively. So one thing you should note here that the third cleavage division is the first to produce the first quartet of micromeres, and this segregates the yolk and the oil droplets into the macromeres. That means this is the first quartet of the micromeres. So that lifts up these micromeres, lifts up a little from the macromeres so that the yolk and all other oil droplets are left behind in these macromeres, and that will remain till the end of the cleavage. Thereby the division of the macromeres will be little slower because of the influence of yolk, while these micromeres divide at a faster rate. Now at the fifth cleavage division, after this fifth cleavage, the divisions become asynchronous, and at the 32 cell stage is reached, the cell of the each cell, it starts dividing at different times, so that you won't be able to follow it correctly. Why they divide at different times? Some will have the influence of yolk, and each quartet will have their own time of division, so it becomes little difficult to follow. And this first quartet of micromeres that are formed, it is these quartet that give rise to most of the apical structures in the larva, like this cilia, the apical tuft, the prostomium and the peristomium. They are formed mainly by this first quartet of cells. So this is how the cleavage occurs in Nereis, and this is how we can mark the cells. Whenever we say cell here, it refers to a blastomere. Now, this is the diagram that you need to learn if you are asked to write about cell lineage in Nereis. These are the diagram that you should represent, and this should be written correctly, and this explains the spiral cleavage and the cell lineage studies in Nereis. So this is an important diagram and you have to practice this. And there is one more way of representing the lineage of cells. Now what happens here? Now for example, here the representation of one blastomere, that is A, is taken. If you remember, you had a zygote which was divided into 4 cells, and here this was A. Okay, we label it clockwise. Yeah, A, B, C and D, and this A if you take and this if you represent, like how it's going to form the further micromeres and the macromeres, this is how it can be represented. Now from one blastomere A, it gave rise to all macromeres are represented with capital letters and micromeres are represented with small letters. So it gives rise to one macromere and one micromere. And then this macromere again divides to form the second macromere and second micromere. This second macromere again divides to form one macromere and one micromere, and this continues. Whereas whenever a micromere divides, you cannot expect a macromere being formed from a micromere. So when a micromere divides, it can give rise to 2 micromeres only. Okay. So since it is giving rise only to 2 micromeres, how will you differentiate? You will number them. Now from this 1A, you are getting 2 micromeres. This is micromere 1, this is micromere 2. So this is of the first division. So in the first circle, from this 1A micromer, you are having two cells being formed. And which are those two cells? 1A1 and 1A2. Okay. Now if you consider this 1A, now if you consider this 1A1, that further divides to form 2 micromeres, isn't it? So how will you label them? That is 1A11 and this is 1A12. That is, it says that it is the first micromer of 1A1 and the second micromer of second micromer of 1A1. Understood? So similarly, now the second micromer here, 1A2, when that splits into 2, you label the cell as 1A21 and 1A22. What does it represent? This says that this is the first micromer of 1A2. This is the second micromer of 1A2. Understood? That is how it is labeled. And further, if you go to the next division, 1A21, that divides to form 2 micromeres. One is 1A211 and 1A212. That means this is the first micromer of 1A21 and this 1A21 is the first micromer of 1A2. Okay, like that, this is the second micromer of 1A21, which is a second cell micromer derived from 1A2. Like that it continues, and that's how this labelings or the cell history has been marked using alphabets. The same applies here also, but the only difference is whenever a macromer divides, you get one macromer and a micromer, whereas whenever the micromer divides, you get only 2 micromeres, the first and the second. So this you should know. Now in Nereis, when such division happen, you have different kind of different regions of this trochophore larva of the Nereis being formed from different cells. For example, if you look into these the first quadret of cells, that is 1A1, that is, if you look into this 1A1 from A, similarly you will have 1B1 from B, 1C1 from C and 1D1 from D, isn't it? So these 4 micromeres, they are going to form the they are going to form the structures of the animal pole. Like they are called as the central cells, and they give rise to this apical tuft of cilia. Similarly, the trochoblast cells, that is this 1A2 from A, similarly 1B2, 1C2 and 1D2 from B, C and D, they are going to form the trophoblast cells, and which in turn forms this powerful cilia that encircles the trochophore larva, which we call it as prototorque. And similarly, like this A1 series will form the apical tuft of cilia, as I said, and then these micromeres, that is 1A11, 1B11, 1C11 and 1D11. This circle of blastomeres, and they form the larval epidermis. Okay, that and these cells, this series of cells like 1A12, 1B12, 1C12 and 1D12, these series of cells, they give rise to larval epidermis. So like this we can follow each blastomere has to what larval organs it is going to form, like which blastomere is going to form the gut, the eye spot, the ciliary band and the coelomic sacs. So this kind of study is what we call as cell lineage studies. Now this is again a lineage study of very important cell called as 4D, which is called as mesentoblast cell. Now this 4D is very important. Why? Because it is this 4D cell that is going to form the endoderm and few derivatives of the mesoderm as well. So when this zygote divides, now whatever we have discussed so far, this is similar in mollusks and annelids that shows spiral cleavage. If you take any mollusk, for example Dentalium or annelid like Nereis, they both exhibit spiral cleavage, and the process of development and the derivation of cells and organs are same. Because even in Dentalium you find a larva similar to that of Trochophore larva itself. As a result, the organs that it differentiates remains the same. Now this 4D cell, why I say it's unique is it is this 4D that give rise to this mesoderm and the endoderm, and the lineage of this 4D is widely studied to understand like how its derivatives play an important role in differentiation of organs in various groups. So by studying this, they will come to a conclusion that what kind of embryological similarities they have, and they can try to establish some kind of evolutionary link as well, taking this embryological evidence. Now this 4D cell is called as a mesentoblast cell because it is the one which in turn gave rise to mesoderm. But with respect to Nereis, when we talk, normally we represent it as a somatoblast because it is from this somatoblast that you get the trunk ectoderm, the nervous system and the nephridia. And in the previous picture, if you remember, the larger cell like this one, the D3 and the D2. D2 is the first somatoblast that is formed and D3 is the second somatoblast that is formed, which in turn give rise to the trunk region and nephridia and nervous system in case of Nereis. Now this 4D mesentoblast cell, if you look into its lineage, now this is a micromere, so that divides into two micromeres. So accordingly we have labeled as 4D1 and 4D2, that is the first cell of 4D and the first cell of the first micromere of this 4D mesentoblast, and this is the second micromere. 4D1 that divides to form again 2, so it is labeled as 4D11, the first cell of 4D1, the second cell of 4D1, and here also the same, the first cell of 4D2, the second cell of 4D2, and here if you see this is the further division of it, so it is labeled as 4D111, that is this is the first cell of 4D11, second cell of 4D11, first cell of 4D12, second cell of 4D12. Okay, similarly it is represented here also. Now the main thing here is the derivatives, like what they are going to form. Now these series of cells, that is 4D111, 4D112 and 4D121, they form the endoderm of the intestine, whereas this forms the endoderm of the intestine, whereas this first cell of 4D21 and the first cell of 4D22, they are going to form the pharyngeal endoderm, and the second cell of this 4D21 and the second cell of this, they together form the mesoderm. Okay, so now this is how we try to derive the developmental history of one particular blastomere. So at the end we can make out that all the micromeres that are there, that are dividing or that are towards the animal pole, they give rise to ectoderm, and then Apart from this mesentoblast cell, the rest all will form the endoderm, and this 4D cell that forms the somatoblast. With respect to Nereis in particular, the somatoblasts, that are the D2 and D3 cells, they form the mesoderm, whereas in general when you talk about the annelidans and the molluscans, this 4D mesentoblast, they form both endoderm and the mesodermal derivatives. So it is also called as endomesodermal derivatives. So that is how the developmental history of a blastomere can be traced, and this is what we call it as cell lineage. So I hope I have made this concept clear to you. Since this is a very small topic, I have not added any kind of MCQs here. Maybe this question can be asked for a 10 mark, wherein they'll ask you to describe what is cell lineage, describe it with respect to Nereis. So you have to write the definition, and then you will write like what is the significance, like what kind of egg you find in Nereis and what kind of cleavage it undergoes. Diagrams are important, and then you will represent this, you will give this representation, and then you will write about this example of one particular blastomere, and 4D mesentoblast is compulsory. This you have to represent and show, and then finally you will write about the derivatives as well. So I'll provide the notes in the form of PDF that you can read and learn. So I hope you enjoyed learning this concept. Thank you for listening. Have a nice time.